Hey there! What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to HaveKnifeDay, and today we're going to take a closer look at the CRKT Bona Fide. Now, this knife has been out for a while. It has videos out there. It has a couple of different variations, so I will express my opinions and share my experiences with it, and whether or not I would get another one. So let's start off with some measurements here. If I got that right. Looks like you have about 3 5/8 of a blade with just over 3.5 inches of cutting. Knife overall is just over 8 1/8. Your grip area is just about 3 3/4. Let's see here. That's pretty thick blade stock. So your blade stock thickness is 0.13 of an inch, and your handle thickness is just about 1/2 inch. What's it weigh? Just over 4 ounces, so not terrible. Oh yeah. Do some size comparisons real quick here. We will start off with the PM2 at 8 1/4 overall. So as you can see, they're about the same size. This looks a little bigger on camera because it's closer. You've got the Spyderco Delica at 7 1/8. So you notice that this is about the same size as the PM2, but it has more cutting than both. Let's see how it carries in the pocket. This has a pretty deep carry clip. So all in all, it's going to sit all the way down in the pocket. And the widest spot here is not as wide as the widest spot up here. So it's actually a little thinner than both. What do you got for materials? You have, looks like a black PVD coated 4116 stainless steel. You've got dark green aluminum handles. They're actually scales because there are recessed steel liners in here. You got stainless steel hardware. Yeah, it looks like what is a GRN or FRN backspacer. That might be aluminum too, I'm not sure. It might be steel as well. Let's check it out and see if it's steel. It's not steel. Standard stainless hardware, steel pocket clip that is not reversible to the other side. Overall, pretty decent materials. Let's do a hardware check real quick here. Alright, so that pivot looks like it's probably a T10. Nope, a little big for that. Let's go with T8. Okay, pivot is captive and it is a T8. Those look small, so I would imagine they are probably T6. Pocket clip, single pocket clip screw, T6. Okay, everything T6, pivot's captive, and T8. Now, this has the IKBS bearing system, and some of them are caged and some of them are not. I have taken apart some knives that have the IKBS bearing system, and some of the bearings are loose and fall right out. And then I take them apart, and some of them are caged. So I haven't taken this apart as far as down to the bearings, so I have no idea. Let's see. This also has the Field Strip 2 technology. So I will demonstrate that right quick. So with it closed, you cannot take it apart. Once you open it, then you take this lever, slide it forward, and the knife comes apart like so. So now, as I have it apart, those are caged bearings. And that is basically all there is to it. Now to put it back together, you just put it back together, flip this down, lock it in place, disengage, and that is it. So this is the Gen 2 version of the Ken Onion Field Strip technology. The other one had more of a different type of lever here, and it had like a sprocket on the back. You had to twist that down, and I believe that originally came out on the home front. But this is much easier to use and only has one lever to operate. Which brings us to the action. How's the action? You know, for something I just took apart without tools, It's pretty much perfectly centered. It works exactly like it did before I took it apart. And it actually has great action. Your only deployment method is the flipper tab, which does have some jimping on there, and it is functional. Disengagement is pretty easy, although I will say they did not chamfer out any of the scales or the liner for more access to the inset liner lock. You know, for the recessed liner, they didn't mill anything out for that. There is jimping on it, and it is functional. It is pretty easy to disengage, but it would have been nice if they would have milled a little bit of this out and give us a little bit better access to it. All in all, it's pretty good. D10 is about a medium. I would say that if you want to flip it out, you really could if you really gave it some wrist, but all in all, if you can't really flip it out. Your lockup is about 15 to 20%. Closing is pretty easy, but like I said, no access. Knife came to me centered. It's got solid lockup. It's got pretty smooth action. I mean, this thing is, even though it doesn't have multiple deployment options, it is fun to open and close. So, the build and the design, pretty cool. This is unlike most of Ken Onion's designs, where the blade is recurved and it has different curves, and the handle has different curves and palm swells and all that. This is a departure from that for sure. And although it doesn't have any of those characteristics as far as handle and blade and all that, this thing is great in the hand. You have functional jimping back here on the spine of the blade, which is excellent. It goes all the way out to where your thumb would naturally go. This is a full-size knife. I have average large hands, and it fits me perfectly. The jimping provides a little bit of traction so your finger does not want to slip forward. The finger, this is a choil up front, but it's not intended for fingers, as you would slip right onto the blade. There's some jimping back here on the very ridiculously generous lanyard hole. You could probably put a seatbelt through that. Pretty good size. So you have jimping back here that's functional. You have jimping up here that's functional. Again, jimping on the lock bar. That's functional, works very, very well. The build is pretty solid. I would say that the branding on it, the build is solid. The blade, it's got some jimping and it's got some branding. And I would say the branding is about average because we have the model number, IKBS bearing system, the name of the knife, the fact that Ken Onion designed it, and the patent number. CRKT likes to put all that stuff on the blade. And we don't really need the name of the knife on the blade because we know what we bought. You know, you got some nice design elements, whereas you have this milling in the aluminum, which gives you like a false bolster. You've got this rock pattern texture on the back of the handles here. Everything is nicely knocked down. There's really no rough edges anywhere. There's no hot spots to speak of on that, although the pocket clip, it's deep carry and that's great, but it sticks up pretty high and it is abrupt at the very, very back of the handle. So when you're holding it in your hand, all you feel is that pocket clip kind of digging into your hand right here. So that's not ideal. Probably could have used a different one, but this is the second version of this I've had and the pocket clip is the same. The blade is very, very sharp. The grind is even. It's got a nice almost spear point blade, has a tiny little bit of a swedge right here, like a very minute swedge. So I would say that since it lines up almost perfectly with where the pivot is, it could be considered a spear point. I would still call it a drop point. So yeah, the lanyard could be a little smaller. It has a nice upscale look. That brings us to ergonomics. As I said before, it fits great in the hand. The only hot spot that I can think of is this pocket clip. It sits up too high. It's kind of abrupt. Something a little longer and a little smoother would have been, a little bit more shallow would have been nicer. Carry weight is pretty average. I mean, this is only a 4-ounce knife and it's over 8 inches overall. So, you know, you got 3.5 inches of cutting. I think the size and weight is fine. You know, if you're buying this and you're looking up how much it weighs, you know what you're getting. So complaining about it afterwards would be kind of a moot point. Deep carry clip is good as far as carrying the pocket. It's easy in and out of the pocket. You can grab onto it right here and just pull it out just like that. No worries there. I think the lanyard, like I said before, is way oversized. I mean, with this being like this, you probably don't even need your lanyard, but it's there if you want that option. I think it slices well. Pretty much all day comfort in the hand other than the pocket clip. You can just hold the knife like this and cut all day. The only thing I said is you're going to feel the pocket clip. So overall good in hand, pretty good overall. Now, do you want one? If you want one, they are available. They come in a couple different configurations as far as colors. You have a satin with a gray aluminum, and then you have this one, and I think there's one more, but I can't be for certain. Your packaging, like most CRKTs, is minimal. You know, it's to the point. This is made in Taiwan, not China. So in the CRKT box, you get a little pamphlet, a little bag it comes in, and the box, and that's it. No fuss, no muss. So, how much is this thing? Well, it's $85 or $90, depending on where you get it. And, you know, Taiwan, before anyone says, Taiwan is not the same as China. Taiwan's cost of manufacturing is more similar to the United States than what it is to China, for sure. So I think the price reflects the materials. I think the build is nice. I think this technology is awesome. The fact that you can take it apart and put it back together with this, that's amazing. So what are you going to compare with this? You know, really nothing, unless you compare another CRKT knife with this technology and these materials. There really isn't anything else that does what this knife does. You know, this knife is a full-size knife, full-size blade. It carries like a more slim knife because it is. And, you know, I would buy this over and over and over again. I mean, all day long. And it's not just because Ken Onion's one of my favorite designers, it's because this is a great knife. And you know, with CRKT, you really get a lot of bang for your buck, meaning that they work with some of the best designers in the world. And their designs are innovative, they're unique, and I really don't see anything else like this coming from other manufacturers. Like the diversity in which how many designs they have and how many designers they've worked with is really unparalleled. So, you know, I would think that if you're looking for something like this with this kind of technology, you really can't look much further than, you know, this knife or another one that has it. So I picked this up on the secondary market after I sold my first version because I regretted it. And I didn't pay anywhere near $85 for this. And I think that for $85, $90, the value is very decent, borderline on very good. And for what I paid for it, awesome, outstanding. So that is going to do it for me today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comments. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe to see more. Thanks for watching, everybody, and as always, have a knife day.